Researchers have spent decades studying what the longest-lived populations in the world actually do differently. They looked at blue zone communities in Sardinia, Okinawa, and Costa Rica. They tracked hundreds of thousands of people across the United States, Europe, and Asia for 20 to 30 years. And again, across different countries and cultures and diets, the same 5 patterns kept appearing. These are not supplements. They are not procedures. They are habits, available to almost everyone, practiced daily. Here is what the evidence actually shows. Habit 1. Move your body every single day. A study published in the American Journal of Preventive Medicine followed more than 150,000 adults over a median of nearly 17 years. It found that brisk walking for as little as 15 minutes a day was associated with a nearly 20% reduction in all-cause mortality. The American Heart Association has found that adults who reach 150 to 300 minutes of moderate activity per week, that is 20 to 40 minutes per day, show a 26 to 31% lower mortality risk than those who are sedentary. The type of movement matters less than the consistency. Walking, cycling, swimming, gardening. What appears to matter is that you do something every day that elevates your heart rate slightly and keeps your body in motion. Sedentary behavior, independent of exercise, has been shown to carry its own mortality risk. Sitting less and moving more are not the same instruction, but they are both worth following. Habit 2. Resistance training, twice a week. A 2022 meta-analysis published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine analyzed data from more than 1 million participants across multiple studies. It found that muscle strengthening activity as little as 30 to 60 minutes per week was independently associated with a 10 to 17% reduction in risk of all-cause mortality, cardiovascular disease, and cancer. This is separate from cardiovascular exercise. It is not about burning calories. Strength training preserves muscle mass, supports bone density, improves insulin sensitivity, and helps maintain the kind of functional strength that keeps people independent as they age. 2 sessions per week, 30 minutes each. That is the minimum effective dose supported by the evidence. You do not need a gym membership to reach it. Habit 3. Protecting your sleep. Decades of research consistently show that adults who sleep between 7 and 9 hours per night have the lowest rates of all-cause mortality. Sleeping fewer than 6 hours regularly is associated with a significantly higher risk of cardiovascular disease, metabolic disorders, cognitive decline, and early death. The mechanisms are now well understood. During sleep, the brain clears metabolic waste products, including proteins associated with Alzheimer's risk. The immune system consolidates its defenses. The cardiovascular system recovers glucose. Metabolism resets. Sleep is not rest in the passive sense. It is the period during which most of the body's critical repair processes occur. Consistency appears to matter as much as duration, going to sleep and waking at the same time. Every day, including weekends, is one of the most reliably recommended behavioral targets in sleep research. Habit 4. Eating in a way that resembles the Mediterranean diet. The evidence behind this dietary pattern is among the most extensive in nutritional research. A meta-analysis of 29 prospective studies involving more than 1.67 million participants found that greater adherence to the Mediterranean diet was associated with a 10% reduction in all-cause mortality for every 2-point increase in diet adherence score. The landmark PREDIME trial, a randomized controlled study of over 7,000 people at cardiovascular risk, found a 30% reduction in cardiovascular mortality among those eating a Mediterranean-style diet supplemented with olive oil or nuts compared to a control diet. The core pattern is not complicated. More vegetables, legumes, whole grains, and fish. Olive oil as the primary fat. Modest amounts of red wine with meals in the original trial populations. Less red meat and processed food. You do not need to eat Greek food. You need to shift the balance of what is on your plate. Habit 5, and arguably the most surprising one, Maintaining meaningful social connections. A meta-analysis led by Julianne Holt-Lundstad at Brigham Young University, published in PLOS Medicine in 2010, reviewed 148 studies involving nearly 300,000 participants. It found that people with adequate social relationships had a 26% lower risk of dying prematurely than those who were socially isolated. The effect size was comparable to quitting smoking. It exceeded the mortality risk associated with physical inactivity, obesity, and excessive alcohol consumption in the same analysis. The research is careful to distinguish between social isolation, the objective absence of social contact, and loneliness, the subjective feeling of disconnection. Both carry independent mortality risk, but loneliness is the stronger predictor because it keeps the nervous system in a persistent state of low-level threat. Investing in relationships is not a soft recommendation. In terms of years of life, it may be among the most important decisions you make. Move every day. Lift something heavy twice a week. Sleep 7 to 9 hours. Eat more plants and good fats. Invest in the people around you. The research does not guarantee outcomes for individuals.